Hello, dear. Welcome back. How the British Empire became the largest in history. I will explain it clearly.
Intro. The empire where the sun never set. At its height, the British Empire controlled nearly 1/4 of the Earth's land surface. Nearly 1 out of every 4 people on the planet lived under British rule. From the tea plantations of India to the gold mines of South Africa, from the forests of Canada to the shores of Australia, there was always daylight somewhere in the empire. It was called the empire on which the sun never set. But how did this happen? How did a relatively small island nation in the North Atlantic rise to dominate continents? How did merchants become rulers? How did trade turn into conquest? And why did this empire expand so rapidly and then decline so quickly? This is the story of ambition, industry, naval power, and global transformation. This is how the British Empire became the largest empire in history. Caption: Chapter 1: A Fragmented Europe and a Rising Navy. In the 1500s, England was not yet powerful. Spain dominated the seas with treasure fleets from the Americas. Portugal controlled trade routes to Asia. France was the dominant continental rival. England was smaller, less wealthy, and politically unstable. But geography gave it an advantage. As an island nation, England relied on the sea for protection and survival. Over time, this necessity created strength. Under Queen Elizabeth I, English privateers attacked Spanish ships. Men like Sir Francis Drake circumnavigated the globe. Then came 1588. The Spanish Armada sailed to invade England, but storms and English naval tactics destroyed it. That victory was more than military, it was psychological. England realized that naval dominance could open the world. Caption: Chapter 2: Trade before territory. Unlike Spain, Britain initially did not seek massive territorial empires. It sought trade. In 1600, the East India Company was chartered. It was not a government, it was a corporation. Its purpose was profit. It established trading posts in India and Southeast Asia. Meanwhile, colonies formed in North America and the Caribbean. Jamestown in 1607, Barbados soon after. Sugar plantations in the Caribbean became extremely profitable. But these colonies depended heavily on enslaved labor. The Atlantic slave trade became deeply intertwined with imperial growth. Ships carried manufactured goods to Africa, enslaved Africans to the Americas, raw materials back to Britain. Trade built wealth. Wealth funded expansion. Caption: Chapter 3: War with France and Global Dominance. The 18th century was defined by rivalry with France. Britain and France clashed repeatedly across Europe, North America, and India. The decisive conflict came during the 7 Years' War. In North America, it was known as the French and Indian War. In India, British and French forces backed rival local rulers. In 1763, Britain emerged victorious. France lost Canada. France's influence in India weakened dramatically. Britain became the dominant global colonial power. But war came at a cost: massive debt. To manage that debt, Britain would later tax its American colonies, triggering another revolution. Empire created opportunity, but it also created tension. Caption: Chapter 4: Losing America, Gaining the World. In 1776, 13 American colonies declared independence. After years of war, Britain lost them. It seemed like a devastating blow, but paradoxically, losing America forced Britain to rethink its strategy. Instead of focusing only on settlement colonies, Britain expanded aggressively in Asia and Africa. Canada remained loyal.
Australia became a penal colony in 1888. New Zealand followed. India became the central pillar of empire. Sometimes losing one region strengthens focus elsewhere. Caption, Chapter 6, The Industrial Revolution, the real game changer. If naval power built the empire, industry sustained it. Britain was the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution. Steam engines powered factories, coal fueled production, railways transformed transport, iron and steel production surged. Industrialization meant Britain could produce goods cheaply and quickly, outcompete rivals, arm its navy with advanced ships, build global infrastructure. Colonies provided raw materials, cotton from India, rubber from Malaya, gold and diamonds from Africa. Factories in Manchester turned these into finished goods. Empire became an economic system, a self-reinforcing machine. Caption, Chapter 6, India, From Trade to Rule. India was not conquered overnight. The East India Company gradually expanded influence through alliances, wars, and diplomacy. After the Battle of Plassey in 1757, British control deepened. Local rulers were defeated or subordinated. By the mid-1800s, the company controlled vast territories. Then came 1857, the Indian Rebellion, a massive uprising against British rule. It shook the empire. After suppressing the rebellion, Britain dissolved the East India Company. India became directly governed by the Crown. Queen Victoria was declared Empress of India. India was called the jewel in the crown. It was the empire's most valuable possession. Caption, Chapter 8, Africa and Strategic Control. In the late 19th century, European powers raced to claim Africa. Britain focused on strategic locations, Egypt and the Suez Canal, South Africa's mineral wealth, East Africa's trade routes. The Suez Canal was especially critical. It shortened the route to India. Control of it meant control of imperial lifelines. British expansion was sometimes justified as civilizing mission, but it was driven by power and competition. Rivalry with France and Germany intensified. By 1900, British territories stretched from Cairo to Cape Town. Caption, Chapter 9, Global Networks. The British Empire was not just land, it was connections. Telegraph cables stretched across oceans. Steamships connected continents. Railways were built in India and Africa. London became the financial capital of the world. The British pound became a global reserve currency. The empire created an early form of globalization. Information traveled faster. Trade moved efficiently. Power flowed through networks. Caption, Chapter 10, Pax Britannica. From 1815 to 1914, Britain dominated global politics. Its navy deterred large-scale war. Its economy shaped global markets. Its political institutions influenced governance worldwide. This era was known as Pax Britannica, British peace. It was not peaceful everywhere. Colonial wars continued. But among major European powers, large-scale conflict was limited. The empire reached its largest size after World War I. It covered nearly 24% of global land area. No empire before or since has surpassed it in scale. Caption, The Beginning of the End. World War I drained resources. World War II devastated Britain economically. The cost of maintaining empire became unsustainable. Meanwhile, nationalist movements grew. In India, leaders like Mahatma Gandhi mobilized mass resistance. In Africa and the Middle East, independence movements intensified. In 1947, India gained independence. Soon after, many colonies followed. The empire transitioned into the Commonwealth, a voluntary association of independent nations. The empire did not collapse overnight. It transformed. Final reflection. Why it became so large. The British Empire grew because of geography, island defense and maritime focus, naval supremacy, industrial innovation, financial dominance, strategic adaptability, corporate expansion through the East India Company, and relentless competition. It combined commerce and conquest, technology and timing, trade and military force. A small island nation leveraged global networks to build the largest empire in history. Final cinematic close. Empires rise, empires expand, empires decline. The British Empire reshaped borders, languages, legal systems, and economies. Its legacy remains complex. For some, it represents infrastructure and global integration. For others, exploitation and resistance.